Your Town Matters is funded by the Government of Canada through the Local Journalism Initiative and supported by Cactus Media, Canada's independent community television association.
Welcome to Meet Your Mayoral Candidates for the Municipal District of St. Stephen on CHCO television, filmed before a live studio audience at the Garcelon Civic Centre. I'm Vicki Hogarth, today's moderator, and I'd like to introduce your candidates in alphabetical order. Allan MacEachern, Ken Parker, Burton Stewart. Let's give all these candidates a round of applause for putting their names forward. Again, it's so nice to hear applause and see faces in the audience. It's been a long few years of doing this only on TV, so it's wonderful to have that element back into the production. So here's how this event will work. Each candidate will have the opportunity to make an opening statement for 2 minutes, starting with Allan MacEachern. Then we'll proceed to the question period, rotating who answers first for fairness, beginning with Ken Parker, followed by Burton Stewart, then Allan, and so on until the end of the 7 questions. All 3 candidates will be given the opportunity to answer each question. The questions have been pre-submitted by email from voters, and then they were vetted and condensed into what we thought were the 7 most important themes and issues that they represented. A warning bell will ring 15 seconds before the 2-minute mark, and then again when your 2 minutes are up. And thank you to Heather Donahue for volunteering to be our timekeeper today. At the end of the event, each candidate will be given 2 minutes to make closing statements, and for fairness, Burton, you'll start first, and then we'll go to Allan, and then Ken, you will end. So are you ready to get started? Okay, so Allan, we'll start with you for your opening statement. Your 2 minutes start right now.
Thank you, Vicki. Hi, everyone. My name's Allan MacEachern. And again, I'd like to thank CHCO for hosting this event and putting it out live to all our voters. I grew up in St. Stephen. I worked alongside my grandfather and father in the heating industry. In my early career years, I continued working in the service industry, traveling throughout our region and building many relationships along the way. For 12 years following that, I worked as a power engineer at the flight board here and understand the importance of industry in our region. In 2011, I began working in the property management field, which is now what I do today. I'm currently serving my 2nd term as mayor and have been serving as councillor and deputy mayor for over a decade. Amalgamation poses many challenges to our area. I have all the necessary experience in transitions like this from my work as a Regional Service Commission member, as the mayor and previous mayor. I am focused on building strong leaders and leadership teams, and am well known for fairness and being inclusive in my informed and responsible decision making, as well as being a strong voice for our community. I'm dedicated to creating a healthy community, to working for our continued growth and success. We must keep our positive momentum that we have created here and work on it together and keep pushing forward. Our region needs a mayor with proven leadership and experience, a mayor who is already working with success, a mayor who will ensure our collective voice is heard, and I will work with the representatives you nominate, and that's our new council members, and to make sure that we take full advantage of this new structure. Thank you.
Thank you, Allan. Ken, your 2 minutes to make your opening statements start right now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name, so for you who don't know me, my name is Ken Parker. I've lived in St. Stephen and the surrounding area for over 45 years with my wife of 52 years, Paulette. I've raised two sons, Brad and Kurt. My background ranges from being an instructor at NBCC years ago to being a building inspector, maintenance supervisor for the school board, owning my own business, and to where most people know me as being the garden center manager at the superstore, then moving over to Kent's Garden Center for the last 8 years. Before my recent retirement, I'm running for mayor this time after being elected for council 6 terms dating back to the early 1990s. This election is different. With the amalgamation of the rural districts, there are more questions than answers. I believe I have the experience, the leadership abilities, and the time that is going to be needed in this transition. Transparency, honesty, and accountability is going to be vital in helping this council move forward. The mayor votes, but the council ultimately makes the decision. There has to be transparency not only to council, but to the general public as well, because you're the ones that put us here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Burton, your 2 minutes start right now.
Good afternoon. My name is Burton Stewart. I'm a 5th generation Stewart from Robert Stewart, circa 1880, that's moved to this province to own land. My family heritage is a jack of all trades, master of none. We're carpenters, lumberjacks, blacksmiths, farriers, farmers, and survivors. Change came to that when I got my first license of a stationary engineer in 1981. 3rd class in 1985 and 2nd class in 1990. Education is the path out of poverty. In 1997, I received a diploma from Industrial Control Technology. 2000, I became a licensed Red Seal electrician. 2002, I became a licensed industrial mechanic. Retired from the industry in 2015, but giving back to the program, I began to give back to the program that has given me a comfortable life. I became a qualified instructor in 2000, and I teach at NBCC now in power engineering, technology trades, process control trades, and electrical trades. I believe it's the responsibility of every citizen to participate in the democratic process that will keep the freedoms that our society has enjoyed for the last 77 years, 1945 to 2022. The old adage, if you never put all your eggs in one basket, is something that our family has relied on. I invested in a woodlot to be able to cut pulp, hunt and fish, and enjoy that. My home is over 100 years old, so I had to buy a sawmill in order to mill my own lumber to work with that. I have a passion for music, and I've written songs to immortalize life on the border. You may remember such songs as Smuggling in My Old Lady's Arms, Misty Meadows, and the Dump Song. And I'm
Thank
done.
you, Burton. 2 minutes goes by really fast, and we're going to jump right into question period. But there's no saying how you use the 2 minutes you have, so if there are things you want to catch up on at a different point in this, if you're done answering a certain question and you want to add something in, use all the 2 minutes by all means. What you do with your time is fully up to you. So we're going to jump into question 1, and Ken, you're going to start this round. Here's question 1, and I will read the questions each time for the next person who goes, so you will hear the question repeated in case you want to hear it one more time before you answer. Question 1, if you are elected mayor, what will be the biggest challenges that you and your council will face when it comes to navigating amalgamation, and how will you overcome them? Your 2 minutes can start now.
Thank you. Well, there's no question it's going to be a challenging time with the amalgamation. I'll just say up front, I think it's been totally unfair how this entity has started. There's a lot more questions than answers. I don't believe the people out there have been treated fairly. But with this new council, there's got to be transparency. We have to work together as a team. If we doesn't work together as a team, we're going to accomplish nothing. And there's so many questions out there from, I get it every day, from what's my tax rate going to be? What's going to happen to my, my local fire department? What services have I got to pay for within our municipality and here? So it's definitely going to be challenging, and it's going to take a lot of time with the new council. And we have to make sure that everybody in the amalgamation is treated fairly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Burton, you're up next, and again, I'll read the question for you again. If you are elected as mayor, what will be the biggest challenges that you and your council will face when it comes to navigating amalgamation, and how will you overcome them? Your 2 minutes start right now.
Our biggest challenge is amalgamation itself and communication. We have had an extremely difficult time trying to inform the people of Ward 1 and Ward 3, and I assume probably the town as well, of what the rules are going to be and what has come down the pike. It's going to be the hand that we're dealt with, and it's going to be something that we're just going to have to deal with as we come. Working together with people who want to move ahead instead of looking in the rearview mirror, looking into our future to make this a survivable and a self-contained unit.
Thank you, Burton. Allan, if you are elected mayor, what will be the biggest challenges that you and your council will face when it comes to navigating amalgamation, and how will you overcome them? Your 2 minutes start right now.
Yeah, so it's already been spoke of. That's one of the challenges that we're going to have to take on. We are amalgamating, as has been stated before. So now we got to take the lead on this. So I have some experience in this with the Regional Service Commission, because we went through these growing pains before working together as a Regional Service Commission, and they weren't good times in the first term. It went back as I went out after people left as deputy mayor and started working with the region, and I believe I made that a better place out there and got us all working together. And we're in a good place now. Now it's a little different story. Now we're working as an entity, which still we have to work with the Regional Service Commission. So again, I really do I feel that an experienced mayor in that situation that's already been involved is very important. You don't want to go through these growing pains of learning the process. We've got to bring all those councillors in. We've got to listen to their issues. We've got to build the relationship together. It's going to be challenging, because we're going in right now looking at the tax rate now. It's only in a draft, but we're holding the tax rate. But we are going to feel some growing pains, but we can work together and make those costs more efficient and hold the tax rate as we did as a town for the last 10 years. We held the tax rate. We grew the tax base, not the tax rate, and so it's going to take that finesse to work with everyone and build those teams, and make it work. And so I believe we will get through it. I mean, we're going to have to get through it. I'm up for the challenge, and that bell just okay. I still got time, right? Yeah. Anyway, I ended at that though, but thank you.
Allan. We're already on to question 2. Now for question 2, again, in keeping with the order of fairness, Burton, you will start question 2. Here it is. When it comes to crime and crime prevention, what do you think are the biggest issues the St. Stephen area is facing right now, and what do you think needs to be done on a municipal level to create a safer community? Your 2 minutes start now.
As an educator in post-secondary education system in MBCC, we have a problem with our school system. Our education level now is approximately grade 8, grade 9 level are being graduated from high schools and sent out into the system. We have people out on the streets that have no work skills, they have no ability to work, and they have no desire to work. So what do they got to turn to? Is drugs. That's our big problem with crime. How do we prevent that? We're going to have to work with, say, the churches who are bringing in drug rehabilitation or Celebrate Recovery, type of programs to get the people off the drugs and give them some sort of hope in the future that they're going to want to work and have a reason to work. In the short term, we have a problem with the province not following through with what our RCMP officers are doing. They put people behind bars and they're out before the paperwork's done. That's the issue that we're having right now. We need a new courthouse, we need a jail in the municipality of St. Stephen.
Thank you, Burton. Question 2, Allan, you are next. When it comes to crime and crime prevention, what do you think are the biggest issues the St. Stephen area is facing right now? And what do you think needs to be done on a municipal level to create a safer community? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay. There's a lot to that answer, but there's definitely, we have policing issues, and it changes daily. We're following, these economic times, troubled times. So that it changes daily. But I can go back and talk about our policing system and the lay of the land the way we have, and it's not a good lay. It's the officers we have for courthouse reasons are always out of our area, so there's not boots on the ground. So that happens to us. So they say we have officers, but they're not here doing their active role, and they're not here at night as well. So, but again, there's a cost-related issue, and it's also controlled by the province. That's one thing you'll find out when you get into the municipal politics is the province does control the outcome of your decision making, just by having policies and all that in place and what we have to follow, and they control our police budget, which we are still waiting for today to get this budget done. And so with the courthouse, with the hospitals, our officers are traveling out of town again for those, dropping patients off. And that takes 2 officers. And when 2 officers are gone, they're not here doing their work. And as it was alluded to, the policing has changed because of the increase of crime due to all the troubles that we're having. We're not alone in that. We just got to do our part and try to change that. Hopefully, I've had recent discussions about adding new police type force alongside with the RCMP, or we got to talk more with the province, which it is active today, about a provincial police, or maybe with these new entities we'll work with the region, have a regional police force. But these are discussions that probably come true, and better action on them now with this new entity and region making. So we can work together, and we'll also have a stronger voice at the table with the province with this larger entity.
Thank you, Allan. Ken, you're last for question 2. When it comes to crime and crime prevention, what do you think are the biggest issues facing the St. Stephen area right now? And what do you think needs to be done on a municipal level to create a safer community? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay. Well, as has been mentioned by both candidates up here, it's a complex issue. And again, as Allan has stated, our local RCMP are stretched so far out of the boundaries and stuff now. And for us to increase more law enforcement, we have to deal with the province and trying to get more funding. And it's not that easy. And so we have a drug problem, I feel, in town right now. And the way the economy and stuff is really putting our law enforcement really on edge. So it's, again, we have to work with our RCMP, we have to work with the public, and again, we're doing everything we can possibly do as council to work with them. And with this new entity that we're going to have out there, again, it's going to be more challenging. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. We're already on to question 3. Allan, you will start question 3 off. How would you work to address the housing crisis and the growing homeless population in St. Stephen? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay, that's kind of 2 questions. The housing crisis, I've been working with many great leaders in the community and working ahead at that for the last few years. Now that the province is on board and recognizes it as a housing crisis now, it has made it a little bit easier. But also everyone else is involved in the same thing, so we're competing with funding throughout the whole province and country for that matter. And so it brought us other challenges. How that is related to the homelessness issue is there's the availability of apartments is not there, so it has brought up the prices of rent. So we need to get more housing to damper that down and have some more competitiveness in the rental business. So we got to provide more housing. In fairness, I know I've got a little bit of an edge on that because I've been already working on this file for a couple of years now. There's things coming, and it takes more work. It takes I've got those connections in place. I've got the team in place. I've got the leaders and the leaders in our community, and still building new leaders. And that's how we're going to get through this. We got to encourage development, and there's ways to do that in a small rural area like us instead of a city. We have a package in place to entice developers to prove you can build here and not in the cities, so we have to do that by incentives like property, which we have incentive policies on water and sewer, any of those things that we can do to help create more movement of building. But we are working on it. It's a tough file because again we're competing with the cities and there's more money for them to be made. They get better interest rates in the cities they do in our small towns. So again we gotta be creative. We gotta work together, and we do recognize it is a problem, and we are working on it actively today and have got some good headway.
Thanks, Allan. Ken, you're up next. How would you work to address the housing crisis and the growing homeless population in St. Stephen? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay. First of all, affordable housing is definitely a need in our area for that. We have, as council, over the past several years, we've been working with developers, trying to find a suitable place to put affordable housing. We've had some movement over the past few years, but there's much more that has to be done. It's definitely a necessity, and it relates, again, it's a two-part question, and it does relate back to our homeless people. I mean, they're working out there, and a lot of the people are working with minimum wage. They can't afford big, high rentals. We have to have affordable housing, and affordable housing, I mean, is people out there with big families and stuff. They have to have a place to live. So we're working on that. It is quite a file. It's complex, but we're moving forward on it, and we'll continue to move forward on it.
Thank you, Ken. Burton, how would you work to address the housing crisis and the growing homeless population in St. Stephen? Your 2 minutes start now.
The housing crisis has been a self-imposed crisis by the province and municipalities, by the implementation of putting bylaws and codes on houses. 20 years ago, we still have thousands of board feet of lumber available to us. We used to have sawmills that we could saw out cheap lumber, and we used to have friends that could get together and build a house. Today, we're restricted by the province itself, restricting to where you're allowed to build a house. You need building permits, you need inspectors, and they're all causing the cost of housing to go up so expensive young people just can't afford to build houses. What we have to do is get rid of those bylaws and those codes. They're unnecessary. There's thousands of homes in Charlotte County that have been built without a building inspector ever coming into them. It's an issue. I've never lived in a house that has plain stick of lumber in it, and they're still standing today. Some of our families' homes are over 200 years old, and they're still standing. That's why they're so expensive. As far as homelessness, it's a complicated issue itself. There's people that just will not want to obey rules to be into a home, and they're finding themselves out in the street. It may be self-imposed on their part as well. If we have mental health issues, then that has to be dealt with.
Thank you, Burton. Question 4, and we will start with Ken for this one. How will you work to attract businesses to come to the region and also help sustain the small businesses that create the backbone of the community? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay. Again, small businesses is the backbone to any community. Without small businesses, I mean, we're nothing. We have to have down core development, and we have to put out incentives to entice these people to come in. We have to have new people coming in and moving into our town with the businesses that are already here. You know, we have to work with them, and to try to entice. You're almost getting back into like tourism and everything to make sure we bring people into the town to support these businesses. And I can't stress enough, as many times as I've ran for council to support small businesses and attract them. As I say, I just reiterate again that without them, and that's the backbone of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Burton, how would you work to attract businesses to come to the region and also help sustain the small businesses that create the backbone of the community? Your 2 minutes start now.
I'm not sure that your comment that small businesses are the backbone of community in 2022, and we have Amazon.com where we can order anything from around the world to be delivered right to your door in a matter of seconds. We've got to change our thinking of small businesses and the availability of products. There may be in the future, with the price of diesel running at $12, $13 a gallon, that we're going to have to provide our own produce or our food and our necessities, and they are going to be back as being our small businesses.
Thank you. Allan, how would you work to attract businesses to come to the region and also help sustain the small businesses that create the backbone of the community? And I'm going to wait just for that phone to stop, and then I'll start your 2 minutes. Do you want me to read it again? I'll read it one more time.
Oh.
How would you work to attract businesses to come to the region and also help sustain the small businesses that create the backbone of the community? Your 2 minutes start now.
One of my favorite topics, one of the proudest jobs that I've done as mayor for this community so far. I would continue to invest in that budget to support our Future St. Stephen group. I would continue to invest my time into that file. I would continue to work with the other regions around us, because we all have our own specialties, so we can work together and all work together and combine our efforts and support each other in the county. I will also continue to push for infrastructure to support large business as well in our industrial parks, and continue promoting our community, rolling out the red carpet anytime a developer or someone comes to our area and talks to me, get them connected with the right people, help them get through the roadblocks, such as bylaws and water hookups and all those sorts of things. I think we do that very well. We're known by the province as #1 in laying out the groundwork for our developers and business people in our area. Also continue to support our businesses, encourage people to shop locally. Now that we got the rural area, now we are officially working for them, even though we were always working for them before. Now we can officially help them be part of that with farming and like with vegetables and berries and all those sorts of things. Start working to see what their issues are, and we'll have teams of people that are working on that now that they can actually come talk to, not just an MLA now. So that's going to open up a whole new way of doing things. And again, though, we will share those experiences at the regional service level as well, and just continue what we're doing. That's something that we're doing well here in Charlotte County. So, thank you.
Thank you. We're already at question 5, which means we're over halfway done. So take a deep breath. We're getting through this, and it's going very well. Question 5, we'll be starting with Burton. Burton, what do you think are the municipal district of St. Stephen's best features to attract more tourism to the region? Your 2 minutes start now.
Personally, I think that the tourism, we're going to be going down a dead-end road with that. If people can't afford gas to drive in their cars, then tourism's going to be slowed down. If our tax dollars are going to be so high that we're just going to be able to barely hang on to our homes as we have this great reset, then travel and discretionary funds are going to be out the window. I really don't agree with spending tax dollars on businesses that rely on tourism. If they're making their livelihood off that, then they should be the ones investing in it.
Thank you, Burton. Allan, you are next. Question 5, what do you think are the municipal district of St. Stephen's best features to attract more tourism to the region?
We're the gateway to the province of starters, so they're coming right through us. I do believe they're still going to continue to come through us. There is people that still will travel. The cost will slow it down, but I think that people will still travel. And that's not going to be forever neither, so we also got to be ready when it does pick back up again. We have so much to offer here. We just got to continue working with the other towns around us that have all their little special tourism things and work and promote ourselves together, which we are doing. We have a tourism committee in place for that. And talking about the businesses being active in supporting tourism, that's what their tax dollars are for. They're already paying tax for that, so I would say that they already are invested in tourism. That's what it's for. So again, we're the gateway of the province. They're right there for us. We got to grab them. We got the oldest basketball court in the world here. It's going strong. So we got to grab on that, and just use our Chocolate Town theme as well. Like, we got so much to offer here. We got the tidal river, and again, we're connected to St. Andrews, which is a high tourism place. That's what their business and economics is about. So we need to help support them as well, and just keep working together. There's always more work to do. You got to keep changing for the times, but we do got to keep working on tourism, and yeah.
Thanks, Allan. Ken, you are up next. What do you think are the municipal district of St. Stephen's best features to attract more tourism to the region? Your 2 minutes start now.
Thank you. First of all, I do believe that tourism is going to be picking up here with the easing of the COVID problem that we have been facing that pretty well stopped our tourism to a dead. But I believe with that easing up, they are going to come. We have to work hard in promoting what we have. We've got the beautiful river out here. We've got Ganongs. As Allan had said, we have so much here to offer. We've got to work very hard on getting accommodations here for people once they get here to stay. We need a hotel desperately, and I can assure everyone that we have been working as council, and Mayor himself has been working so hard at this over the past few years. That is vital to our community. And it hinges right around the building we're sitting in here now. We need the hotel to promote the Civic Centre. So I'll leave it at that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ken. We're moving on to question 6. We're already at question 6. We're starting with Allan for this one. Allan, what do you think council and the mayor, what role do you think council and the mayor should play in attracting physicians and increasing healthcare services to the community and working to ensure that the Charlotte County Hospital doesn't lose services? Your 2 minutes start right now.
2 minutes is not enough for that neither, but again, I'm going to have to bring up the province. I mean, again, we can do all the work we want to do and work with our community leaders again and create and help create clinics. But if the province isn't on board, you're not going to get doctors. I've been part of it. We've got doctors, but unless they're on board, which they're starting to get on board again, it must be our turn. So, I mean, we got 3 coming, but that's still not enough. We got to keep continuing because more start retiring, so we got to be ahead of that. But they just keep moving around. Although healthcare is not just a St. Stephen issue, it's it's Canada-wide as well, but we still got to be listened to. So I'll go back to the part where now we're a larger entity now. The mayor will be a mayor of up to almost 10,000 people. That mayor will have a stronger voice at the table. That mayor will be listened to because he's got more people behind him supporting him, or her, well, him in this case. So again, it's still up to the province, but we need to push the province. We need to work hard and work with them. I've been part of many meetings interviewing doctors on how to promote and what like a new clinic can do for us. We've been talking about a new clinic for a lot of years, but it feels like we're getting really close to that again. But it could take a little bit longer. But the clinic seems to be the answer for doctors. The new doctors like to work in a support system, not alone in their own practice. So we need to really get a new, and we got to build a clinic. It's as simple as that. That houses at least 3 to 4 doctors along with nurse practitioners, and open after hours to alleviate the stress on our hospital so they can do other things that they should be doing, not just meeting patients like we're doing. It's too costly. I could go on for hours, and I'd love to sit down and talk to anyone about that stuff, but it's a really huge issue that we have. But we got to start. We started, but we just got to keep working on it. And you will always be a challenge, and it will be a challenge forever on healthcare. But we just got to keep moving forward on it.
Thank you, Allan. Ken, what role do you think that council and the mayor should play in attracting physicians and increasing healthcare services to the community, as well as working to ensure that Charlotte County Hospital doesn't lose services? Your 2 minutes start now.
All right. Again, we've got to be working constantly with the province. I hate to keep hammering bringing the province up, but without their support, it's very hard for municipality. So we've got to be working with the province constantly in supporting, attracting doctors to the community. It's such a huge issue. We've got to work doing our local fundraising and stuff along with the hospital, supporting them constantly. I mean, we just had the radiothon there, and what a huge success that was. And again, we have to be working with the province. It all boils down to getting doctors and nurses to our area, and without the province's support, so we're going to be working very hard with them, and again, support the fundraising and support the board itself, and making sure that our hospital is here and they have everything that's needed to keep them going. And I'm all for that, and as I become mayor, I'll be working hard with them.
Thank you, Ken. Burton, what role do you think that council and the mayor should play in attracting physicians and increasing healthcare services to the community, and working to ensure that Charlotte County Hospital doesn't lose services? Your 2 minutes start now.
I'd suggest recruiting from the high school level to grow our own doctors. We have people who are fully competent, be able to go to university. We should be sponsoring them because they come from the area and they're going to come back from the area, to the area. If they're grown here, this is their hometown, they want to work here, then they should be allowed to do that. So let's start there, and let's start sponsoring them in their first year of residency, and make sure that we give them as much breaks as possible so they can come back home and work at their hospitals here.
Burton, we are at the last question. This will be the last question before the 2 minutes of closing, but you've made it all this way through, so congratulations so far. Question 7, we're starting with Ken. It is, if you're elected mayor, how would you work to create a more inclusive community where neighbors support neighbors? How will you as mayor ensure that you are a voice for everyone in the municipal district of St. Stephen? Your 2 minutes start now.
Okay. First of all, the mayor, he represents everybody. He works, he's out there constantly meeting with the public on different boards, different areas of the community. As the mayor, I would definitely be promoting our community, and I'll be a spokesperson for everybody. I want to make sure that everybody out there, especially with our amalgamations and stuff, is treated fairly and they get proper representation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Burton, you are next. If you are elected mayor, how would you work to create a more inclusive community where neighbors support neighbors? How will you as mayor ensure you are a voice for everyone in the municipal district of St. Stephen? Your 2 minutes start now.
After the last 2 years of being treated like a mushroom, kept in the dark and being fed you know what, I would absolutely make sure the communication process has to be open. We may live in the technological age, but we do not live in a communication age. We have senior citizens who are being treated with ageism. They don't have Facebook, they're not on Twitter, and they don't have computers, and there's no way that they can find out what's going on in our community. There's got to be a way to communicate with the people in the rural areas. As far as representing everybody, open door policy, I've never ever turned anybody away from my door. Got questions, you can call and ask at any time. If I don't know the answers, then I'll find someone who does know the answers.
Thank you, Burton. Allan, if you're elected mayor, how would you work to create a more inclusive community where neighbors support neighbors? How will you as mayor ensure you are a voice for everyone in the municipal district of St. Stephen? Your 2 minutes start now.
Well, I just continue working with them, connecting with them. When new people move here, as mayor, you'll be connected with them, and you'll get a chance to talk to them, and you share what services you have here. I will continue to grow the community to make it a better place to live, work, and play, which is very important, and which will help support us and newcomers, and just continue to be positive, continue to cheerlead and plant seeds and water them for our community, connect people. Once connect them with others in the area, you find out what their thing is, and in a small community, I know who it is that's doing that same type of thing. I can connect them. Also, just continue to make sure that the services are here for our newcomers and people living here. Also, work with. We got a lot of people that have moved to this area, but a lot of them moved in the rural area. So now we can help work with them as well. We have been anyways, but again, it's officially now. We officially represent the rural area. So there's a democratic process now that we're accountable to. So just continue to promote our community, promote a good place to live. Continue on doing. I guess I got to sell what we've been doing, but we have been doing that. It's all about connecting with the right people, supporting each other. Anyway, I'm lost for words. Thanks.
This concludes our question period, and I want to remind everybody watching at home and in the audience, the candidates didn't know the questions ahead of time, so what they did just now is quite a feat. I don't envy you at being this position. It is incredibly challenging, and you gave us all so much to think about in your answers. So just because I can, I'm going to ask for a round of applause because we're in a studio audience. Yes, we've really missed that sound. It's nice to have it back. So we are going to move on to question period. Now, for fairness, Burton, you're going to start first. It's just the way we've been alternating. Then it will be Allan, and Ken, you will close off the night. Are you feeling ready? Do you need a breather, more water, anyone? Okay. So 2 minutes for Burton. You can use to make whatever closing remarks you'd like to leave voters with. Your 2 minutes start now.
Why I put my name forward to run for mayor. 2 years we've been fighting with the government with this amalgamation to try to have our voices heard from LSD St. David. I've been involved with politics since the early 70s when Hatfield reigned. I can remember my first political rally with Cockburn, McGaw, Rigby, and Young. They're the men to get jobs done. They would fill a building like this with people who are involved in politics. There was no problem for me ever dropping in to see Bob Jackson, Tony Hutchins, who else we got here, or Curtis Malik. Their office doors were always open. They're always willing to talk. Our current MLA has shut us down every time we wanted to have a discussion with them. She refused to meet with us, and her last words were, if you want to have a voice to say, then run for council. Well, here I am, running for council.
Thank you, Burton. Allan, your 2 minutes to make your closing remarks start now.
I can remember over 11 years ago standing in front of an audience at the high school, and I was quite nervous. My knees were shaking. I can remember asking my wife, could you see it? She said she couldn't, but I was very nervous. I feel that way again here today. Normally I'm a little more comfortable, but I feel like I got a lot to lose here today. I want your support. I want to continue doing what I'm doing. I've built those relationships, those connections. I've helped build leaders and support leaders in this community, which is very important. No one can do this themselves. I want to continue doing that. I can't imagine walking away from that. It's very important. We're on the uphill grade. Yes, we got some new issues brought aboard us just recently. Don't measure us, any one of us, on that type of thing. That's new. We are working on it. It takes time. But I want to continue with this growth. This growth is, if we didn't have this growth that we just had in the last 4 or 5 years, what kind of mess would we be in here today that helped cushion the blow of all these things? I witnessed 2 years of COVID. We put new businesses in our community during COVID, and our businesses survived through that COVID. There was talked about online and how it affects businesses in town. Yes, it does affect them, but we've worked with businesses and get them more creative, so they are actually online presence as well. So when there's slow times, they can sell to the world too, just like we can. So we're more or less, our downtown business can be globally connected as well. We are working with all types of businesses to help them with that. There's great service clubs in our area, and we got to continue helping and supporting those service clubs and service providers in our area to help promote our community and keep them moving forward. And anyway, I really wish to get your support and continue this road we're on, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Allan. Ken, your 2 minutes to make your closing remarks start now.
Thank you. It's good to be last, but I'm going to be short and sweet. Just in closing, the mayor's role is to represent all the people. He's to give guidance to the council. It's so vital that we work together as a team or we accomplish nothing. I am an open-minded person, love talking to people, listen to their concerns. I have a passion for this community, which I think I've demonstrated in being elected for 6 terms in office. I look forward to representing you in the next term. I urge everyone to get out and vote. It's so important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. So let's give a final round of applause for your 3 candidates. Again, in alphabetical order, Allan MacEachern, Ken Parker, and Burton Stewart. I appreciate your time so much today, and for doing this, I just want to say thank you to the Garcelon Civic Centre for hosting us today and letting us do this on home turf. It's so wonderful to do this event not in our CHCO studio as we have done throughout COVID-19, but to bring it back into this municipality where it belongs, and to have you, the audience, here with us today is beyond special. I can't tell you how used I've got to just talking to an empty room, so it's really wonderful. I want to thank Heather Donahue, our amazing timekeeper, who has been with us all day so that I don't lose my head up here trying to do timekeeping as well. I appreciate you, Heather, so much. And to the CHCO team behind the camera, Jonathan Britton, Flo Mitchell, Bill Coyne, and Patrick Watt, who make this production possible. It honestly could not be just me up here. And now it's up to you, the voters, to do your part and vote on November 28th. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Vicki Hogarth.